Well, we got 10:31, so we'll get ready to get rolling here and get into gear. So thank you for having me here. I always look forward to getting out and meeting with members and hopefully sharing a little bit of knowledge. Some of you will walk away with some aha moments. That's the main thing we're looking for. Some new tools, some things that makes it get you out of hot water, and things of that nature. So, but we haven't met personally yet. I'm Jay Jennings, and recently just got promoted last week. They announced I'm the director of compliance. So I'm the guy, when you get an email, it's either like yes or like, that's what they do. So hopefully today what we're going to do is go a little bit over some compliance things, keep you guys out of hot water, keep some money in your pocket. We don't want to have you guys out there and hopefully walk away with some good tips, and we can share with some of the other team members in the office here. So let's get the compliance out of the way, and then we'll get to some of the MLS stuff. I've been asked to go over safe searches today. Agreed. But while I'm here, if there's anything else that you need covered, by all means, fire away, and we're more than happy to cover it. So let's just get to rules and regs. All right. This is in section 7 of our MLS rules and regs. We have several different sections. We have minor violations. See here, major violations, and we got some prohibited activities, and then the big whopper, the clear cooperation for coming soon. That's $1,000 fine. So we'll try and stay away from that, and we'll kind of give you some tips about what you can and can't do. Just at the end of 2021, we had one agent who just wouldn't want to listen, and $1 grand. Couldn't figure it out, so I'm not doing it that way. I'm like, and I'm not the guy out there looking for it. I got a lot of eyeballs like you guys out there showing properties, and so, hey, you're $1,000 fine. Stop doing that. If you see it again, go fix it before somebody else sees it. Next day, go fix it. I don't want to do it that way. Good enough. $4,000 in another 48 hours. Wrote a check. Okay. But I don't want that to happen to anybody else. It's very rare that happens. But boy, I tell you what, it's not the fun part of my job. But anyway, again, we get a lot of eyes out there. And what we're really trying to do with compliance, guys, is this is not a revenue generator, by the way, for the association. 50% of anything we collected goes right back out to charity at the end of the year. We don't want that money, really. But so anyway, just put that out there. So minor violations, we won't have to go over all of these, but if you get into any kind of trouble, the nice thing about minor violations is we have software that runs every night at midnight, okay? And it checks all our fields, it checks public remarks, it checks a lot of different things, and some of the rule logic we built into Paragon. So what happens is if you do something wrong, the software is smart enough to say, here's what you did, here's the MLS number, here's how to fix it, and you have 3 days to do it, okay? That email goes out to you and the listing and the brokers too. So you have 2 sets of eyes saying, all right, you've got 3 days to fix it. We go in there and look, send off that email. If it doesn't get fixed, next day you get another notification email saying you've got 2 days to fix MLS number so-and-so. Here's what you did and here's how to fix it, okay? So that goes on into the 3rd day. If you don't do it, it's a $50 fine, okay? So, but it's still no fun to do it. But if you see those emails, obviously jump on it. A lot of them are pretty minor stuff, like photos aren't right. Let's just talk about that. It's the main one we get quite a bit. And it ruffles our members' feathers quite a bit, but you can see why we do this. So your main photo for a listing, residential single family, it has to be an exterior view of the structure, all right? People are like, well, my client really wants a picture of the balcony or a dolphin jumping or something like that. I'm like, well, that gets syndicated out to a lot of third-party sites. So if we had everybody do that, it looks like we'd be selling dolphins in that comment. Right? So let's all keep on the same playing field and use them. What we want is for the consumer and the end user to look at that and say, I get it. If you look at a balcony view of something like, is it a house, is it a condo, is it a mobile home, is it a triplex, whatever. So we're just trying to put a fair and honest view of what the product is we're selling out there. So keep that in mind. It's a good one to, hopefully you don't get those nasty emails. So major violations. This one I want to share with you. I'm going to get a tattoo, whatever, write it down somewhere. You're going to see it all the time, because this is our number one thing that generates fines by far. By far. It's late entry, late pending, and late closing. And unfortunately, you don't get an email that says, hey, you made a boo-boo, you got time, you got a couple of, the damage is done. Okay. So let's just go with late listing entries. You get a listing signed and you have an effective date on that contract, right? From that date, you have 3 business days to get it into the MLS. 3 business days from that date. Okay. Saturdays and Sundays don't count, holidays don't count, our office is closed, doesn't count, but 3 business days. Okay. Same thing with something goes under contract. Something that goes to pending, whatever that pending effective date is, 3 business days from there. Okay. One of the things where people get stuck at, because people, some offices have their own policies about how they do closings and how they pay their agents. So for closing, when listing, you get a settlement sheet for all your closings, right? You're going to have a settlement date and a disbursement date. Our MLS rules and regs say 3 business days from the settlement date. We don't care when checks get cut internally or whatever. And that's something, because that gets recorded in the tax records. So we're going to go off of that. Okay. So whenever you get that closing sheet, that HUD, it says, here's my settlement date. It's 3 business days from there. Not when you get your check, not when money's getting exchanged back and forth, or the FedEx package got disrailed somewhere along the way. Settlement date will always be the same. Okay. That's the $100 fine. Okay, right out of the chute. Here's a list of them. So basically, most of these are going to be a failure to change the status in time within 3 business days. Okay. Number 6, here's one. We have some agents. I don't like to use the word lazy, but in this case, it's lazy. We have for some reason, they have a listing for 123 Main Street, MLS number 12345. They end up saying whenever that listing comes to get close to being expired or canceled or whatever, they change it and take all the information out and sell a condo. And then they change it to 5578 West Beach Boulevard and change all the information, all the photos, days on market, signature countings. I have no idea why you would do that, but don't. Doesn't help you, doesn't help the client, and it really messes up our reports and things of that nature, right? So, the last one, or number 9, showing or entering a property without permission from the agent or the seller. Guys, let me just tell you this. Not only is it a rule violation, but it's a really good way to get shot. Right? You won't believe some of the stories I get. On Monday morning is always the most fascinating part of my week, because while you guys are out there doing a lot of showings, going out there working with clients, you know what? They're like, oh, somebody said this happened just recently. Well, my clients are going back to Nashville, and they decided at the last minute they wanted to see something. I couldn't get a hold of the agent, so we just went in. Guess who's in that house? Somebody who was not happy with them being there, right? Authorities got involved, a dog got involved. It was just an ugly, ugly, ugly mess. Don't do it. Right, so I know you guys are working really hard. I used to do what you did, by the way. Before I came on board the association for the last 7 years, before that, I was listing and selling. My dad and I had a company together. And so I've seen a lot of this stuff, and I understand, man, I really want to get that sale. I want to get, make my clients happy. But we had something that actually we were having a meeting the other day, and this happened in Florida, I think. Somebody just got tased. But in the house, the lady was, coming out of the shower. There was 2 people standing there. Got sick right there. So anyway, it's just not safe, and I wouldn't recommend doing that. Prohibited activities, guys. So, I like to share some stories because I get to hear it all. One of these days, I'm going to write a book. It's just incredible, some of the things I hear. But number 1, don't share your username and password to anyone. Okay, all right. I'll give you an example. We had an agent who, there's that lazy word again, but had clients who were interested in looking looking for property. So instead of setting up searches for him and collab center, he said, here's my username and password. Gives a lot of clients. And so we call them out. We have software that checks IP addresses, right? Who's logging in at what times, whatever. So, hey man, we've got something to talk to you about. What are you doing? It's just like, I'm not doing that. It's incredible. How are you in Paragon, in Houston, Louisville, Traverse City, Michigan, and San Diego at the same time? Tell me how you do that. If you can tell me how you do that, I'm gonna find you. Sorry. Just $250. Okay. So don't do that. Disseminating information in the MLS to non-member agents, unless it's your own listings or from your own company. So we have people who just don't want to pay some fee and be a member. So we have people in Birmingham, Huntsville, or surrounding markets that say, hey Jay, why don't you just send me all this data that I need for my clients, your MLS, and I'll share mine with you, and you don't have to come a member here either. So you find that out pretty quick too. All right.
How do people put in, like, sometimes I see non-member, what does that mean?
So non-member basically means that you have a real estate license, but you're just not with our MLS. So that's how we just set it up. So you don't have to be a member of our MLS, but you can still sell real estate. You have an Alabama real estate license. So if somebody comes down here from Birmingham and they want to use their agent back home, they can certainly facilitate that. They're just not a member with our MLS.
So
that's how we market.
they can't even use that list.
What's that?
They wouldn't be able to use that.
No.
So that's just for input on that it's sold by a non-member. Okay, can they list as a non-member?
No, they don't have access to the MLS.
Okay, gotcha.
No, can't do that. If you ever see that where you see non-member on the listing side, it's because what happened is we had somebody who wanted to sell a property. They aren't a member, but somebody here represented the buyer side. So they come to me and they say, hey, if we get permission from that person's broker list on the list side, I want the comp. I want the sales credit for it. So they enter in the listing, they let me know, I go back in and I change the listing entry from them to non-member. So they can get the sales side, okay? Last one on prohibited activity, guys, is entering a listing to the MLS without fully executed listing agreement. Here's an example. I had somebody call me and said, hey, Jay, I was driving down Beach Express and I saw this listing. It says it's going to be like around for $14 million, or 1.4 million, I can't remember, 7 figures at least. So call up the guy and say, hey, man, here's a picture of the sign, here's the property and everything. You can't find it in the MLS. Can you send me the listing agreement? We have to review this because I don't have a listing agreement. Is it your property? No, it's a buddy of mine. Because I've known him for years. And you're offering compensation on this property? He's just like, yeah. He said, you haven't recatted him or anything. He just is cool, man. I'm like, you just listed like a $2 million property. You're paying other agents, whatever. No representation from the seller. No. All right, here's $250. Go use that money and take your sign out. It's crazy, guys. I mean, it's just basic real estate law, right? You don't do certain things like that. So there's the Mac Daddy of the one below that, clear cooperation violation. I'd like to talk to you about that one. So this really has to do with coming soon. So and we can go, it's actually in section 1.22. Like Rain Man. Do this too much. Let me see if I can find that for you. Just a little lag time here. Come on. I'm just going to go up here and find it for you. Let's just try it this way. Oh, we're close. It's important to see it, so I'm going to wait till it catches up. Come on. Oh, we're really close. All right, there it is. So basically, you have a property coming soon, what the intent is coming soon is that property is getting prepped for sale, okay? Whether they gotta do repairs, whether they gotta move, whatever it could be get professional photographs, whatever it is. You get a listing agreement. You cannot market that coming soon listing until it's active, okay? No signs, no social media, nothing, okay? So that's our rule on that one. So basically, just don't market it until it goes active. Once you do, I mean, agents love social media. I mean, I do too. It's a great tool. But once you put it out there, everyone sees it. And my phone just dashboard lights up, right? As soon as it gets put out there, literally, guys, it's not me looking for it. I don't have time to do all this policing. I got you guys to do it for me. All right? I got 8 phone calls within 5-6 minutes every time it happens. Check out my coming soon listing. All right, so don't do it. So once you have a coming soon listing, it needs to be in the MLS within 1 business day where the coming soon is attached to the listing. Upload that document. Can't show the property. All right. If you get offers on coming soon, you got to change it to active. Okay, and you can't go back to coming soon. Once it goes active, you're there. Okay. So, so the only time really the status change to coming soon will happen is when it expires, it gets canceled, it gets relisted by a new agent or new brokerage firm, property sells. And its listings may not be transferred from any other status to coming soon. We covered that. So again, $1,000 fine. And second time it's real expensive. It can go up to $5,000 for the fence. Okay. And this happens too every year. Unfortunately, it's not fun because it's Christmas time, but starting around Halloween, if you break the same agent breaks the same major violation 3 times, it's a pretty heavy fine. You do it a 4th time, you got to come to the principal's office, or you and your broker. You got to come to the mentalist panel, sit down in front of the panel and say, so why did you do this 4 times this year, right? Give us a good excuse. And believe me, it's expensive. It's expensive. You're probably going to have to go get education, and it's just not fun. So I'm not trying to get scared. I'm just trying to say, hey, do it the right way the first time. You don't have to get an email from me, you know, or you don't have to have those unpleasant visits up in Robertsdale and sitting down in front of your peers and saying, this is why I jacked this thing up 4 times, and I have to write a big check to you. Okay. Let me tell you what another big thing I'm seeing right now. I want you guys maybe just a little participation here. Let's say you're representing a buyer, okay? It's not your listing, you're representing a buyer, and you close on that property. You're sitting there and you got a picture of you and them shaking hands, and you got a picture of the house and say, so happy for my first time home buyers. They close on 123 Main Street, okay? What's wrong with that? No broker attribution was provided. You must, if it's not your listing, you must display the same size font somewhere in that post. Courtesy provided by Century 21, Remax, whatever. You don't have to put the broker's name, phone number, the agent's name, anything like that, just the broker, just the name of the office, okay? So we get that a lot. Same thing. Here we one that really ticked some people off is there was an agent was representing buyers again. Put out a big social media post and like, so thrilled for my buyers in this busy market. We are under contract, ready to go pending. It was actually contingent on sale. So now that broker and that agent said, you really me off because it's telling the world out there we're not taking offers anymore. They're saying it's pending, and that's not the case. And it's not their listing, and they haven't disclosed it. So they're saying this is my listing and we're pending. No, not your listing. Put broker attribution. By all means, don't misrepresent what stage of the transaction is. It's really the public should have no knowledge of that. Okay, so that was a big one. The other one is you may have seen this on Shareology. It had to get removed because it was a code of ethics and it being a big deal. But what we see a lot of times is agents going out and they're requesting showings. They're inside the property. Could be a beautiful condo, right, whatever, $1 million house, it can be anything, it doesn't matter. They take pictures of it, the interior, something really phenomenal, you know, the chandeliers, the view, the pond in the backyard, whatever it may be. You know, like if you're entering this property, wouldn't you love to live here? Give Jay Jennings a call and we'll set up a showing. It's not your listing. Okay? Because I never said what address it was. I never said, you know, whatever. I'm like, if the public looks at that and you're enticing them to say, pick up the phone, and it's a house in Ono Island, they call you like, hey, I'm really interested in that post. Are you gonna start talking something in Lake Forest? You're gonna talk about that house in Ono Island, right? But you have to, broker attribution is what you have to do. So it's an MLS rule, it's a code of ethics. So if that listing agent really wanted to pursue it, they could. All right, it could be a grievance thing, but MLS, it's a fine. No, that's an AR code of ethics. And it's code of ethics at AR, but we have it, and a lot of MLSs incorporate code of ethics into their rules. We do it here. Not everyone does, but we do it here. Yep, good question. All right, so that's the big one. But one is, again, just remember the main thing is 3 business days, any kind of status change. That'll get you just out of so much trouble. Just get it in there. I'll tell you one thing, if you have, who's familiar with, show of hands, Paragon Connect. Who's familiar with that product? Paragon Connect? So actually, this is good, because we got maybe less than 10% of you know this. Paragon Connect is basically Paragon's app. It's not an app. It looks and feels like an app. Let me show you this. Let me go back to portal. So when you log in, this is when you're using your phone or your tablet, you're out in the field, you have access to Wi-Fi, okay? You have to have access right there. That's Paragon Connect. This will format to your phone and your tablet. Looks and feels a little bit differently than Paragon does, but they just released a new product update where you got full listing maintenance from your phone now if you have listings. So what's cool about that, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Great to work with you. Enjoy your new house. Here's your keys. Pull out your phone. Listing closed. Right? You do it at the table. Right? Don't worry about going home, having champagne, and not feeling good for a couple days, and whoops, there's a $100 fine, right? 3 days. So use that phone.
Awesome. Must have been a lot of champagne.
Yeah, it was a big sale. All right, so take a look at this. Now, what I would do, let me move this real quick. It'll give you some cheat sheets, but if you click on that question mark, they've got some really good tutorial videos on there on how to navigate, how to work with clients, things of that nature. So they're putting a lot of money into this product. And I think over the next couple of years, I think most of our agents will start using this format, so the desktop version. I'll go back to Paragon here, okay? All right, so that's what I see mostly in the compliance side, and I get some crazy stories too, so we won't get into those, but it's, like I said, there's a book out there one of these days, it's just crazy what other agents are doing out there. But let's go into some Paragons. Unless you guys have any questions about compliance, we can do things to do or not do, but we can slide back into safe search is what we're going to be looking at today. So let's just go ahead and kick off a search here in the search icon, and we'll just do a traditional residential single family search. One thing I want to point out, another show of hands for me, who's using Collab Center? Okay. So let's just point this out. Same thing. Collab Center is basically the tool that Paragon provides you that when you have a buyer, you set up safe searches. It's a drip campaign that says, you tell me what you want, I'll set you up. Anytime that a new listing or a price change occurs or a status change occurs based on that criteria, you're going to get an email, Mr. Client, Mr. or Mrs. Client. Okay. It's really, really powerful and nice. What's that? Yeah, it's a great tool. And it's like your crystal ball, because not only are you seeing what they're clicking on and liking, disliking, they have the ability to create their own safe searches on something completely different. So let's say you're looking for some snowbirds for a condo, 3-bedroom condo in the Gulf, But also they're thinking, oh, we're gonna retire down here, my daughter graduated, and I wanna buy her first house in full, school startup house. They can start saving those own searches. That's your crystal ball. Get them off of the Zillows, off the Realtor.coms, right? You can see everything they're clicking on, right? And wanting, so you can say, hey, you know what, by the way, we got that showing coming up at Tidewater this weekend. I found a great little home on Myrtle Avenue in Foley that I think is gonna be just right at your price range at 120. They're like, how did you know that? Really good with it. But, right? But that's, everybody's looking for the crystal ball. How am I gonna get my next sale before somebody else gets to them before I do, right? I'm gonna show you how to do that. One thing, the reason I point that out, if you start saving searches on the Collab Center, your default is probably gonna be all active right here. I'm gonna click on your eyeglass. All active encompasses active, contingent on sale, coming soon, and active new construction, which is a new status for our builders. We created. We can go into that later on, but on click, coming soon. We don't syndicate, we don't push market. If you try and save a safe search with all active, it'll say, it'll give you an error, so you can't do it. It violates coming soon rules, okay? So you can either type in manually just active or just remove coming soon, and then we can start going from there. One thing I always point out is your counter here, right? Because sometimes too much information isn't as good. You're gonna get to 0 if you start adding too much in your searches. And I like to see where I'm getting with that. Let's see if, okay. Once I start adding, this guy, I said, there we go. Aha.
They don't show. They say we'll do on the train.
You won't do it on the stream. Well, okay, so let me, you see just under the number 976, you see where it says criteria summary? Every time I start adding something in there, it's going to grab another level of data. So finally, when I get to 0, I'm going to say, oh, what's the last thing I just entered, and hit that X and remove it, and I'll get some of the results I'm looking for. So let's do a search. Let's use that snowbird example, by the way. All right, so let's say they're looking for condos. All right. I would go into property type and go residential attached. I could do it that way, or I could just go condo in style, in structure style, excuse me, condo. So you can see we went from 976 to 143. We can put as much detail as we want there, but let's just go, let's stay in Orange Beach while we're here. So we have 59. And let's say 499 to 600,000. We got 4. That's a pretty good list right there, right? So start sending out. And you can see under criteria, everything I add just started adding another line item to it. So, but if I wanted to save this search, let's go ahead and look what that looks like. There's a couple things you can do with this. Once you get all your criteria, there, but save search, you can do save search or save search ads. If you want to do save search ads, you can do as many of those as you want to, unlimited. Once you hit save search, it's kind of like a Word document. That's your master. All that criteria, the next time you log into Paragon and you hit residential search, all that criteria is your default. You don't want that. You want all these unique searches unique to a client or for yourself or for marketing or prospecting, whatever. So what I want to do is go to save search ads. You're going to see that there's 2 defaults here. It's going to default to yourself. So you can, again, if you're doing marketing or prospecting or farming, you can do as many of these as you want. Newsletters, and you know, don't have to keep typing that stuff in over and over every time you want to run that report. But I want to send this to a contact. All right. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to rename this one. So I'm going to put, just for today's purposes, Snowbird Condo OB. All right. If I had them as a contact already, I could add it to it. I click on an eyeglass. I don't have them in there. I've got some pretty cool clients though right now. But John Travolta's looking to find, pretty excited about that. But I'm going to add a new contact. So you'll see the required fields on there. So let's just go snow. And then I want an email. They should have a required field for that. You're going to be emailing these out. But I'm going to go Snowbird. Okay, so that's all I really need. You can add as much as you want, but let's go ahead and hit save. Save here. You're going to see your contact was saved. Let me move this a little bit out of the way. Now, if you want to kick that off into the CoLab Center, I would hit save and notify. Or else you can just hit save, but save and notify. It's going to, you'll see it's kicking you into CoLab Center now. So right there, there's CoLab Center on. You can turn it off if you don't, if the client buys or whatever. But what I'm doing from this point is hitting settings. I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. Message body. This is going to go out for every search for every client. So you could have 10 searches for every client, but this email will be for that condo search. If they did that for the full week, you write an email for this one. You know, but I just say, Mr. and Mrs. Snowbird, take a look at the latest market update on the condos in Orange Beach you've been interested in. Something, whatever it is. All right. Once you get that in there, hit OK. It's going to default for 1 year, the search. You can change that by clicking on the calendar for however long you want to do that. I have set up some notification triggers for my clients. So anytime there's a price change within the criteria I created, a new listing, a new comment, and that's basically a tool they have on their back end. So they can click on a property if they really like it. There's a tool they click on and say, Jay, if you ever send me a pink house that's on fire, or if they say, Jay, this is the one, set up a showing, I get an email, okay? So that's a cool feature. And status change. So I like this one a lot, especially when the market's so hot. You get some clients out there who just sit on that fence and they're like, right? So you start sending the property, listen, you only have 4, and they're like, I like that one. It's pretty cool. Let's just see what happens with the price. The price isn't going down anytime in this market, right? Once it goes to pending in 9 days, they're like, Lord, get gear, get pre-qualified, whatever you want to do. If you see something, let's write an offer because you're missing out, right? I love that status change. So it puts them on notice without you being the bad guy, right? So client notifications, immediately. So anytime one of those triggers, anything hits in your criteria, an email goes out immediately. Or you can schedule it. And this is a perfect example of what's happening right here. So you can hit recurring and you can hit modify. You can send weekly, monthly, you can pick what day, what time. Let me tell you why it's so important, because it's happened to somebody when snowbirds were going home. They were here, they said, you know what, we're going to come, we're not going to buy this trip, but we're going to get a 2-bedroom condo, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Fort Morgan. We were, okay, but we're going to be in Alabama. And so he set up a search for him right there. Left the client notifications on immediately. By the time they got back to Chicago, they had 57 emails, and he said, my God, this guy must be starving to death, right? They're not coming back for another 9 months. So recurring one would be a good one in that case, right? Maybe every month, you know, until we get closer, then you can change it. You could all do this from Paragon Connect, right? You can do that. Yeah, you can actually. You can do saved searches in there as well. Yep. So same thing for you on notifications. You want to get them immediately or recurring. All right. You'll see that they're set up in the starting into the email thread. Their email address is already populated. If you want to get copied on them, you can say blind copy me. You want to do that? Oops. There we go. And then if you want to type a new subject in there about saying snowbird condo market update, you could do that. So what I'm going to do is just hit OK. I hit recurring, so I didn't put anything there, so I'm just going to go back to immediately. Hit OK. So the last thing I need to do is to send them a welcome message. You only need to do this once. So again, if they have 10 searches, you only need to do this on the first one. And just say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, please create your one-time profile name so you can get access to all the listings that you're interested in. Just and hit send. All right. That's what they get. Everything. If you do all your branding ahead of time in the preferences wizard, you can all your photos, all your contact information will be on there. All right, so it tells them they can hit favorites, possibles, rejects, things of that nature. And we'll go into a little bit more than that, but let's say you're firing up your computer for the first time today, and you have this blank screen in Paragon. How do you find your saved searches? Just a few different ways you can do it. One, if you go into Power Search, 95%, over 95% of the time, Power Search is being used for MLS numbers. So somebody calls you up like, hey, Jay, I'm interested in 321576, plug in that number, and then that MLS will pop up for you. But it also pulls up saved searches, agents, things of that nature. So if I just start typing in any other words of that search, and I started typing in snowbird, it's recognizing, it says, there's your saved search for snowbird condo. Okay, I can click on it there. Oh, I gotta glare. Okay. If I click on it, it'll pull it back in. You can always revise it that way. Here's another way to do it. I can go search, residential single family. In the top left-hand corner there is load search. And you can hit load save search. Come on. Looks like I'm on it. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Okay, so these are all the ones I created. I've got a ton of different ones that I've done. So, like for marketing, turquoise daily report. All right. But I can scroll down and find the snowbird, or I can just start typing it in there and just click on it, and it'll pull it back up. All right. So again, the main thing is when you're saving anything for Collab Center, make sure you don't have coming soon in the status. Here's another cool thing about some search. Actually, one of them right here, right next to load search, there's last search. And those are my last 10 searches that I entered in, so you don't have to retype everything. It's something you want to find, and you'll get like, well, earlier in the day, I was looking in residential, the subdivision called whatever this one was, and I look for the stuff. I just click on that and it'll pull up that search field. I was looking for some agents here, so I was looking for, I typed in list agent Pat Simpson and the condo he entered in, and I can go right back to that without having to type in all the information in. So kind of a time saver right there. I want to show you something really cool that I just found out about. I think what happened, guys, I literally turned 50 a month ago, 30, and I just turned into an MLS nerd overnight. I mean, I go home now and I just play on that MLS. I'm like, no wonder you're single. But anyway, look at it. I found this helping another colleague out with another MLS association. And we now have this under specialty search, advanced mapping. I actually found out about this a little while ago, actually, but this was really great because one of our members actually used this. We got a $500,000 sale because of this new tool. Okay. They were at a Christmas party. They were talking to some folks who were moving down here from Chicago, and they got a job at Hostel. Okay. And they were in Fairhope at the time at a Christmas party, and they said, we love it here. We love the area. We love the schools. He goes, but back home, I live 12 miles away from my office, and I was on the road 3 hours a day, commuting. 12 miles from work, 3 hours a day. He goes, I am not going across that bridge. I'm not driving 3 hours a day every day. So we're going to be buying a deal. So what she did is when she clicked on that advanced mapping, she went into locations. So there's a little bit of delay here. There we go. So what I did is I just did this earlier, another class. So I went to, all she did was type in Austell, Mobile, let's see, make sure I get it right, Alabama. All right. Hit search. See, there was the flag is with the number 1. It found that location just by company name and city. Went to here to drive time, 25 minutes. Did a search. The report takes longer than the drive time apparently. There we go. So I did a map and said, all right, from your work, there's a 25-minute drive time. They're like, you gotta be kidding me. They would buy a $500,000 house in Fairhouse. Right?
It doesn't go to the mobile MLS, right?
What's that?
It won't transfer to the mobile MLS.
That's completely different. That's completely different MLS, right? You'd have to remember over there.
The reason why I asked was you said that he didn't want to cross that bridge, so. I figured-
Yeah, but they love Fairhope and the schools.
Oh, okay.
So they said, hey, listen, it's not taking you 3 hours to
Yeah.
drive. Now, I had to go to Paragon and say, make sure we don't have a filter on that that says Hangout Music Festival overlay or anything like that, or accident on the bridge. But overall, this worked out really good. It ended up being, again, $500,000 sale. Advanced mapping and then locations, right? That's fairly new for us within just 90 days.
So that map that came out, is that the 25 minutes?
Yeah, everything in that area was, based on what we know, we should get a 25-minute drive from work. All right, let's take a look at, I'm going to leave this on the screen because I want to point out that Paragon's tab oriented. So you can leave the search on there and create a whole other search within single family residential by just clicking on new search. All right, so now you have a whole new criteria. You can just toggle back and forth if you need to. But I want to show you something with mapping. And try and give you guys real life examples because this was a big one. And this was a new agent. She called me up, thrilled, and also crying at the same time. She's like, I am losing my mind, Jerry. You gotta help me. I go, what's going on? Because I got a client, a first big buyer, and they love it down in Orange Beach area, all that area. Wolf Bay, they love Cotton Bayou, they love all the backwaters. They don't want to be in a condo. They want a house with a boat lift. They're going to spend over $1 million. I just don't know how to figure out all those waterways. Is it Lillian? Is it Foley? Is it Perdido Beach? Is it Orange Beach? Is it, and what are all the different waterways? How do I know that? Like, how do I type that into a search? And he said, I'm like, okay, is there anything? And she's like, yeah, they don't want to be on our island. They hate it. They said the guy smoked cigarettes, and he said they rented a house, took 35 minutes to get cigarettes. So I said, well, you know what to get them for closing if something happens. But anyway, so this is what we did. So I said, I would not use criteria. I would use a map search. Okay. So what I did is let's scroll out and get to where this client was looking for. Okay, so this is what they were talking about. They love all these backwaters, right? So what I did is, okay, we're going to hit this draw tool and we're going to do Paragon. And I'm just going to start clicking. Every time I click and move, I click, drag, and drop, okay? And I'm just going to go all around this stuff. We'll go down here and let's just tie it back into where we ended up. Okay, good. So I've got my search. All right. So now it's time to, now we've got the area filled up. Now we want to put in the criteria they want, right? Because everything in it is not going to fit. So let's go back to criteria. All right, so we can go all active in this case. Let's say we're not saving Info Lab Center this time. We're just going to look for properties. So one thing, remember, they said they want a house, right? They don't want a condo. So I would just immediately go to property type and go detached. Okay, so that's going to remove all the condos within that search. All right, so I'm down to 87 right now. They said they wanted a boat slip or boat lift. So I could just type in lift here, and then it says there, so right there, boat lift for boat facilities. Boom, 23. They wanted to be on the water. So what I just did is I went down, say named waterfront, and I customized that field. So I just went to customize fields. Everything that I have in my search screen is going to be on the right. Everything I can add is on the left. All right. So I just found named waterfront, added it, and it's in there now. So I want to put yes. Dropped it only a little bit, so that's good. Now, what were some of the other big ones they said about on the island, right? They said, did not want to be on Ono Island. So I'm going to go into subdivision, and I'm going to type in Ono Island. And what I'm going to do is to the right where it says equals, I'm going to go not equal to. So it pulled everything in that map that was on Ono Island and says pull it out. You can do this too, guys. But there's a lot of people who are looking for, I don't want to get in the weeds, but this is another great way of using this. Is like, I don't like being near anybody. I want a bunch of land. I want, you know, like a bunch of money to spend, but I want to be north of I-10 and north of the county. All right. So I want to spend $400,000, whatever. Okay. So some single family homes, 400,000 between whatever. But they want a really nice home. Well, there's a lot of times in Baldwin County, you can have a mobile home on there on 60 acres, right? The land's worth a lot. You could go to structure style, but in mobile homes is not equal to it. So it filters that out of the structure, okay? All right, so that's a great tool to use. So right now, look, we're down to 14. We got boat lift, and let's put in some, I guess we could put in the big money ticket. All right, so there's 9. I'm gonna put $1 million and above. All right, so this is big search. So anyway, let's go to search. So by using the map, we found all these listings. They're going to be on the water with a boat slip, $1 million plus, not on Ono Island. There's 9 listings. Okay, that's the map search. It's good to use too for, again, same thing in Baldwin County, because you don't have a whole lot of subdivisions up there, right? So go ahead and use that map, draw your parameters where you want, and then go back to criteria and put in whatever it is they're looking for. So map searches can be a pretty effective way of getting things done. Now, if I just wanted to save this for myself, whatever, I would actually go back to criteria, and let's see if it'll allow me to save it for myself. I'll show you what happens if I do save search as, and I save it for myself, and I'll just go sober. So I hit save. It'll allow me to do it for myself. But once I start saving it to a client, I try to go see, it won't let coming soon happen. I can save it for myself, all right, with coming soon in there. But once you try and save it for a contact, they'll say, no, can't do that. We'll do the coming soon, all right? But now, if I get a phone call and they say, hey, Jake, we were working on this, I can switch, just hit criteria on this other search and go right back and work on this one, on the condos and the snowbirds. So I don't have to keep shutting everything down. I can just click back and forth and working whatever I want to do. Okay. And again, here's what I was talking about, guys, criteria summary. So let me just show you what happens here. Let's see, one of the things they also must have is a pool, like let's go in-ground pool at the house. All right, got the 2. We're like, that's not enough. Right? I don't want that one, so I can go down. Where did we go? Right here. So I can edit this. I would just get rid of the in-ground pool on that one. We'll go back to 9. If I didn't want to do, let's say property type, let's say everything was in there, I could get rid of that. And it jumps up to 10. So there was must have been a condo in there somewhere. So, all right. So anyway, guys, that covered quite a bit on save searches. How we, is there any? Yeah.
So I have never done e-coms. How do you do that?
The CMA? That's a whole other class. Why we sit there, what I would do. I'm going to show you guys a little bonus trick. Okay, let me show you how to do a 2-minute CMA.
Okay.
All right. Without a subject property, but I can show you how to do a CMA in literally 1 minute. Okay. So I'm going to do this, but you know what? We can set up a Zoom call with me on a Friday. I can spend about 45 minutes with you and walk through it and get you comfortable with that. Awesome. All right. So here is let's create a new search. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm doing the CMA. I just want to see closed. And hopefully, again, you guys see this, most people don't click and pay attention, but there's a date range, so I can pick how far back I want to go. If I click on date range, it's already prescribed for me. So if I just wanted to look at last year, I could look back at the last 6 months. That. Let's say there's a subdivision we want to look at in particular for this, I think it's going to be there it is. 23. Let's say we want to do 4 to 5 bedrooms. All right, there's 10. All right, so I'm just going to use that. All right, I could add more if I want to. I'm going to go to search. Let me move this here out of the way. Right, yeah. So you can pick whichever ones you want to. So let's say we're looking for something over 600,000 maybe. Or let's just use it. I'm just going to pick whatever ones I want. You can click all of them. Let's say if it was just those first 4. By the way, if you click check, then you're just looking at those 4 only. But what I'm doing now is look, if you go into reports, there is a CMA folder. All right. What I've done though, I already use this quite a bit. So I pulled it up to my, what did I do? Sorry guys. So what I've done is, oh, there it is. So I moved it as one of my favorites, but underneath that folder is CMA summary. I click on that, and there's your CMA. So it set those 4 properties. It closed. It says it's going to give you your average. Scroll down so you can all see all that. Your average living area, average days on market, average list price, your list price per square foot, the average sales price, and your average sales price per square foot. That's without a subject property, but sometimes you get out the door and do this thing. It literally took 2 minutes. But that's a great report right there, is the CMA summary. If you want to, let me show you. I'll go back down into CMA. There's a quick view. So if you're trying to print something out and walk out the door, everything lines up real pretty like that, side by side, all the pictures. Print that off. You're out the door in less than 5 minutes. Blow people's minds. Right? So
I have a question. How do you move that to your, like, when it on reports, and you know how they're all listed and there's like 30 of them? How
Yeah.
do you move that CMA report and summary report up?
let's do that. It's a great question. So let's say this is the CMA summary report, quick view. Let's just go back there. If I go back and I look under that folder, like you were saying, all these different folders. I like this one. They just added this. When you roll over, there's the star. Click on it, and it brings you. And now it brings it up to your favorites. Right there. And you see me quick views now. If I want to get rid of something, let's say region 1 page, just unclick it and it removes it, dumps it back. Public detail, get rid of that. All right. Tablet's a really cool one because that formats to your iPad or your phone. See how it changes the different reviews? Here's one I would look at too, guys. Spreadsheets. You have 10 of them. If you look on your version right now, they'll probably name spreadsheet 1 through 10, something like that. Okay? I've created a bunch of different spreadsheets. Like for one, I was working with a client who was wanting to buy timber. So look what happens here. If I were to do a lots and land search, I customize my spreadsheet so it has nothing to do with, I don't really care what subdivision or anything like that, but I'm looking at all this different stuff here. Lot size, lot block, multiple lots, acreage, price per acreage, things of that nature. So I can customize any of these fields if I want to. All right, and I can certainly create it to more of a condo listings format. And I get to see the data that I want to. I can literally go, look at this, guys, CDOM and DOM. If I left click this and just drag it, it just moves it over. City and area, I can just switch over, right? Just do that. So however you want to look at it, whatever is easiest to your eye, you can make it the way you want to, okay? But CMA summary, that's a fast way to do it. I'll tell you now.
How do I put that report reports, like I don't have it on my home screen. How can I put it over there on the side like you have it?
What report are you looking at? The CMA summary?
No, you had reports over here on this side.
You have to do a search first. Do
Okay,
a search and then hit, put all the criteria and hit search, and
okay, I
then
did it right here, okay.
there's reports.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If anybody's using HomeSnap Pro, that's another really neat way to do a CMA. I'll tell you how somebody did this before. It does all the work for you, so you don't think about it too much. I mean, really what it says is, you get the app, you can actually type it in, or you can be standing in front of the house, okay? Get Snap, there's a tool that pops up, says, you want to do a rapid CMA, click on it. It says, it gives you, here's 12 homes within the vicinity of where you're at. You pick the best 3 you think, of the 12 that sold, you pick the best 3 you think would fit the subject property. Click on this, says, okay, here's 12 homes that are active, you pick the best 3. Run CMA, you're done.
This is HomeSnap.
HomeSnap Pro, it's a free tool to you guys too, so I can show you how to get signed up for that if you don't have it. But this is great because we had a new agent who was doing an open house. She was thrilled because we had a couple was coming back and said, when you're done, we're gonna write an offer on the house and we want to look at it one more time, we'll write the offer. So she's excited. She shut down the open house. Neighbor comes in and says, hey, I just want to peek in here. I know you're wrapping up, but we're thinking about selling our house down the street there. We just want to see what this one looks like, what we need to do. Comes in, she goes, you mind if I take a look at your house? Yeah, come on down. So we're walking down the sidewalk and tell them all the kids have moved out, they're all graduating from college. We don't need the 5-bedroom house anymore. We want to get the condo and retire. So they're standing in front of the house, snaps it, rapid CMA, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. She goes, what's your email address? Send it to her. She's like, okay. Just come to the house. I want you to meet my husband. And I really like you. I think he'll like you too. So, hey, how you doing? So and so. And just ding. What's that? That's your CMA. Because I've known you for 11 seconds. How in the world did you do that? She goes, open it up. Looks at it. Looks. Like, yeah, that's exactly what I think my house is worth. I don't know how you did that, but I'm listing the house with you. All right. So she gets another side of the transaction, right? So now they're set up as clients in HomeSnap, and you can search for properties on HomeSnap as well. So she says, use this and start looking at the condos that you want on the beach. They did. Gets them off of Zillow. Gets them off with another agent, right? So guess what happens? Month goes by, she shows up. She says, Mr. Seller, I got great news for you. I got a full price offer for your house. I want to sit down and explain that contract with you. And by the way, I think now would be a great time to write a contingent on sale offer for the Whaler, 610 that you've been looking at. Like, oh my God, like, are you a witch? But that's another side of the transaction. Out of that, using HomeSnap, she made, I think, $46,000. And it did the work for her. They were doing the work for her, right? These are all free tools at your fingertips, guys. Free member benefit tools at your disposal.
Is HomeSnap Pro free?
So HomeSnap Pro is, there's HomeSnap, and that's for consumers, right? They can do it, they can't do all the stuff you guys do. HomeSnap Pro is, it bumps it up to the agent level, so you can do all these cool tool searches, save clients. Another cool thing, all your clients on your phone, if you invite them to HomeSnap, no other member can grab them, they're yours. Right? Yep, and I can show you how to do that real quick. Actually, if you want to jot this down, there's 2 ways you can do it. You just go to our portal, and HomeSnap is going to be in here right there. Okay. I'm going to show you. I could go on next, like I said, I nerd out. This is the last thing I'll show you after we go over to HomeSnap. But go in there, it'll say, are you an agent? Type in your name, your phone number, email. It'll recognize you in our member services.
Was this on the HomeSnap training?
Yeah, if you go to homesnap.com/university, let me do that for you. I'll show you so you guys can just see what it looks like. Homesnap.com/university. Yeah. All right, what I would do, once I get to homesnap.com/university, click on, come on. What's that? I've never seen that before. It's cool. Let me try it one more time, see what happens. Forward slash.
A map came up, so then we click on the southeast, and it gives you like all the classes.
Seems, okay, cool. I'm sorry. Let me get to this one second. Let me try and get this. Go to tutorials. And then it'll kind of walk you through. It's like a 2-minute video and it'll show you how to do it. I would do that and look how to snap homes, how to do a rapid CMA. It's taking a minute here, guys. Apologize, but. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. That's really weird. Okay, look. Let's see what we do. Scroll down. There, right here. So this is what you're looking for. Set up your agent account. You can navigate HomeSnap Pro. And I also look at generate a rapid CMA. That's a good one. And ladies and gentlemen, what I would look at too, they've got this amazing tool right here called Set a Safety Timer. So when you're showing a property, it knows where you are, okay? And it says, I'm showing this property. I expect to be here for 20 minutes. Start timer. 2 minutes left. It says, hey, you okay? Still here? Yep, I'm good. If you don't do anything, acknowledge that, it sends out a message to your safety contacts to Jay Jennings at 123 Main Street, send out. Okay? Guys, I'll tell you what, so I don't want to get in the weeds. Again, when I was doing what you were doing, I had an investor say, I want you to look at this property. North Hardin Foley, anyway, had a tree line in front of the house, set way, way back, way, way back. It was on pilings, and it was a foreclosure. So here I am, I'm thinking everything's cool. This is a Thursday, 11 o'clock in the morning, right? I walk up 2 flights of stairs, I walk in, get in the middle of the house, start looking around, snapping pictures. Somebody comes up from the garage stairs or from the downstairs, and they were cooking meth. All right, I'm surrounded by 2 guys who are high as could be, right? I have no way out. I mean, here I am, I think I'm a pretty cool dude, right? I'm 6 foot, 200 some pounds, right? I got 2 guys that are all jacked up. Luckily, the one thing I just said, I said, have you seen my puppy? Have you seen my puppy? And they were so high, they're like, guys, you've never seen a guy run so fast, jump down 2 flights of
Be
stairs.
right there. Have you seen my puppy? That'd be the question I'm gonna ask you. Have you seen my puppy?
Yeah, so anyway, that's it. Didn't mean to get off in a week, so, but it happens real quick out there. All right, real quick. So just watch what you're doing. Anyway, look at those videos. It's super cool how it works. All right, so I would recommend looking at it. It's an easy way to do a CMA too, really easy. It does all the work for you. All right, so let me go back to, let's go back to the portal. Let's get right back to HomeSnap. I'm going to show you this last tool. I'll open up for Q&A, and you're on your own. All right, so, okay, let's see. Okay, what I'm going to do here, let's go Gulf Shores. Let's go Gulf Shores, Alabama. What I'm going to do is, let me get to like a neighborhood. Right now, there's some residential properties. Oh, what happened? I lost it all. All right, so I'll have to explain it to you if I can. So when you do a map search, you get into an area, there's a little button on the right that says draw. Just draw a neighborhood, whatever. Where it says for sale, up in the top left-hand corner, you just click on it. There's a drop down that says likelihood to list. Most likely, least likely, all right? Click on most likely. Big data is out there and they're saying, we know that the owner of this house just retired, or the kids graduated, or somebody died, or something. They said they've owned the house for 11 years. These are the houses that says if you reach out to them, and there's contact information, who the owner's name is. Many times there's email addresses and phone numbers. It says, reach out to them. We think based on our knowledge of big data, they're going to sell their house. Reach out to them.
That's HomeSnap, right?
That's HomeSnap. Yeah. likelihood to list. So just Google that, whatever, it'll take you there a little bit. I'm sorry, I don't know how it bombed out, but really neat tools out there, guys. So an hour goes by real quick. Again, I nerd out on this stuff. I love it. So I talk about it all the time. If there's something else you want covered, you let me know. Call me. And again, I can do a Zoom call with you from my office. You don't have to drive up there, whatever. We can knock it out. Be more than happy to sit down with you on anything you got troubles with or you want to review, and make sure you guys are comfortable with the tools you have. So make some money out there, guys. I'm excited for you, and I appreciate you spending an hour with me this morning. I'll stick around for a little bit. Yeah, questions?
What do you do if you brought the buyer to a for sale by owner? Are you saying you can't put that into the MLS because they're a non-agent? I've always put it in as MLS non-member. The seller.
It's this, if you're representing them, you could, it all depends how you write that contract. You can just, yeah, it all depends on that.
Okay.
Yeah, it all depends.
What if the seller doesn't want to be,
Seller's not a member of the MLS, doesn't matter. If you write, a lot of times we have to put things straight, like you write addendums in the contracts, that will both buyer and seller agree to it. Buyer and seller aren't members. Sometimes they do, so it breaks the law. I'm like, not only breaking our MLS rules and regs, but it's fraud. You can't do that. Okay, so it doesn't matter what they want. It's the agents who are members of our MLS and they have to abide by rules and regs. So.
But what you're saying is the seller tells you, I don't want to have my house on
If the seller, if the buyer says that, it's like, I don't want people to know what I paid for it, it's public record anyway. But the seller says, I don't want it on MLS, you can do a confidential listing agreement.
That's what I thought.
So that, we can do that. So for a buyer, or seller, you can do a confidential listing agreement. You can't market it at all. All right, can't do that, but you can say, I'm working with you, I'm only talking about this with buyers I know are specifically interested in your property or within my office. But I can't do any, I can't market it at all. No signage, no social media, nothing like that. And you can comp it out when you're done. All right, so if you close on it, you find buyer and seller, when it closes, then you enter it in the listing for comp purposes only. Yeah.
And those forms are where?
Under VR documents, like when you do your portal, instead of clicking on Paragon down below, it's called VR documents, and look at that. Confidential listing agreement. Okay.
I wanted to ask you, why does this come up like this because the agent who put it in the system, how it goes all the
That's
way
your
across?
spreadsheet. What I would do, I would customize. Fields. Convert to default, should be somewhere right there.
It doesn't look so. So when it comes up like that.
There
Everything.
you go.
Okay, cool.
All right. Guys, if you ever need me, my direct line, 270-2725. If you have any complaints, 270-2777.
2725, the other one?
2725, yeah.
I might have to show you on my, I have a question about criteria of the search. So.
That's it. Thank you again, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have a question.
Okay.
Frank, person in there. I got a question.
So when you go.
So.
So.
What, how do we stop?
Basically.
Sure did, Jen.
If you just type in,